Well, good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. I am your host. My name is Jared. Hope everybody is having a nice little weekend. Be real honest with you, when I started kind of looking around this morning, really didn't anticipate having to watch Elon Musk trip balls in the Oval Office. But everybody handles their Fridays differently. So I just wanted to say tripping balls in the Oval Office. That's where it landed. For those of you that are thinking, whatever can we do? What can we do? Because here's what I'll tell you. Here's what I'll tell you. All those people threatening wanton violence aren't doing a goddamn thing. So if you're a man, woman, or child, and you're like, how do we fucking fight these fucks? Oh my God, it feels like they're attacking us and everything that we care about all day, every day, right? Right, right, right. Protest, boycott, strike, join a union. If you're not doing those things, shut the fuck up. Full stop. Full ass stop. If you're still posting on fucking Facebook and Twitter and you're still shopping on you're part of the fucking problem. I have gotten off of all of those platforms. Go look. I do not scroll Facebook, Twitter. I'm not on Threads. I'm not on IG. I'm not on WhatsApp. I'm not on Messenger. It's not like I just said it half-ass. It was like, yo, if y'all really want these motherfuckers to correct their behavior ASAP, you gotta stop using their shit. And for the record, for those of you having private conversations on Discord trying to set up coups and shit, Discord shares your messages with the gov. So that was dumb. But a lot of people sit around and freak out all day long about what's going on in the news, and it's like you're playing right into their hand. This is exactly what they want you to do, is to constantly stress yourself by the never-ending news cycle of fuckery. It's like you're falling for it. I'm the one telling you, like, this not about results for them. It's about chaos. It's about the initial shock and awe of it. It's not at all about what actually happens, you know? I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it out loud. Oh, a judge allowed Donald Trump to deport up to 500,000 fucking people. Good luck. Good luck. He ain't deported one yet. Once you got to deport the first person before you can deport any others. That is not kidnapping, and fucking trafficking is not deportation. I think I've said that before. Morning, Joanne. But I want to make sure I hammer that pretty consistently on my show, nice and early. There are those of you out there with your hands on your hips, not doing a goddamn thing, saying, what are we doing? What are we doing? And you know what you're not doing? You're not daily protesting like the May Day movement. There's a daily live protest. There's a daily protest. Never again shall I have to read. It's gonna take daily protest. Already happening, dumbass. Okay? If you're not about that life and you're like, Jared, that's too much of an ask. Daily protest is too much. I got kids and shit. Man, talk about a lack of foresight. Okay? And then here, right here. You want to protest on a weekend? There. 50-51. You want to do some other shit? You decided you don't like numbers? Indivisible. If you didn't get that, I can't help you. That was wonderful. I make me happy. You know what I mean? If you don't like numbers, try indivisible. And if you're like, Jared, I'm gonna need some more information. Okay. Well, if I'm supposed to get off Twitter, if I'm supposed to get off of Facebook, however am I supposed to get my news? Because it surely can't be Reddit, could it? Yeah. Yeah, actually, going back to Reddit. hmm I'd like to welcome the UK to the world post 19, I don't know, 50. Russia or UK identifies Russia as an immediate and pressing threat in new defense review. Hmm, hmm, okay, right here. You want to talk about a big problem? How about remember Palantir? Palantir that's funding ICE, that's coordinating the trafficking and kidnapping of potentially American citizens, but immigrants. And I just want to make sure we say loud and proud, nice and early in our show, that immigrants built this country, and the United States is a nation of immigrants. Uh-huh. If you're a white person and you live in the United States, you are not going to believe this, but you are an immigrant, and your entire bloodline, immigrants. You're not from here. What the fuck is wrong with you? With your anti-immigrant stance? Your whole family's not from here. You can never own land in the United States. Did you know that? Did you know that after I pay off my mortgage, I technically do not own the parcel? So even the people that like live here and are like, I'm a property owner, you're not a property owner. You don't own the parcel. How do I know? I'm a fucking homeowner in the United States. I know I can read. I can read a fucking mortgage. I know how the rules work. You still gotta pay for it. Still gotta pay on it. Still gotta pay taxes on the property. You don't own it outright. Mm-mm. Nope. So think about that. If you can never really own property in the United States, who owns this place? Nobody. Nobody. Remember, this land is our land? Yeah, our land. You would not believe that by the way this administration behaves. hmm Yep. Yeah. That's why I'm not a capitalist, because corporations are naturally fascist. hmm their end goal is to reduce their out-of-pocket costs for anything that is taken away from the profit line, and that's why you see DEI initiatives go first, hmm because there is a percentage of potential profit that they're missing by that they think that they're going to gain by getting rid of their DEI program. But the goal here is to make sure that every corporation understands that DEI is well over half of your profit. hmm Greetings. So if you think about the gambit that all these corporations are taking, remember I told you corporations are fascist by nature. Okay. Remember, they were not inclusive spaces. They were required to become inclusive spaces. And this is coming from a fucking white boy telling y'all, like, when I first started fucking working, there weren't just like diverse workplaces. I worked at Meyer in South Indianapolis, Indiana. Almost no people of color, which is fucking crazy. Again, what's craziest about living in this bitch is that like when you look at the math and you're like white men, white cis male, are only like 31% of the US population. Yeah, you can have unfettered capitalism without social programs. That doesn't sound like, and everyone lives a fruitful life full of joy and happiness. That sounds an awful lot like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Tons of tens of billions of dollars is wasted every, I don't know, week or two on what could be spent on keeping people fed and have health care. Thank you, Peanut, for correcting yourself because I was just like, I don't know why you would want to enable unfettered capitalism, but I'm glad you corrected yourself because I was really questioning, like, how the fuck you can't unprogram, you can't deprogram that, dude. You're just like, hey, if we get rid of all these fucking social programs, we could just make more money. And it's like, oh, that sounds fucking terrible. What is wrong with you? That doesn't help us. I know, Peanut. I know. It was funny. I thought it was funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it is. I thought it was funny. I just want to make sure. Uh, I knew somebody was gonna make this joke. We gotta keep calling Donald Trump Taco. Okay, we have to keep calling Donald Trump Taco. It's working. He hates it. And it came from the Fed. Like when people that Donald Trump wants to like appease have given him a nickname. Oh, baby girl, you got to understand. There aren't other people affiliated with the US stock market with nicknames. But Taco, because Donald Trump always chickens out. Uh, TACO, Trump always chickens out. It's the Fed's nickname for Donald Trump in regards to these tariffs. They know that ultimately it's not about results. I keep saying that like every fucking day. Like he when he's laying a tariff, it's like he thinks I'm creating a problem that I'm gonna solve. And most of the American people are asleep. They're not paying attention. So he lays this tariff, and then what the lay American, like the dumb American, reads is like Donald Trump goes to negotiate with UK. Oh, look at I saved us from this fucking tariff. And that's what he's selling is like he laid those tariffs. He had that day on the news where he laid those tariffs. Well, what his campaign had to know is they had to know there were a bunch of people that stopped watching mainstream media after the election. Tell me I'm wrong. All these fucking news corporations started fucking cratering because they were catering to this regime, right? So in Donald Trump's eyes, not that many people saw him lay those tariffs. And he can go every fucking day and he can go around and be like, I'm negotiating with North Korea. And like he can I saved us this tariff, right? If it wasn't for me, right? And again, it's not about results, it's not about shit actually happening. I just want to continue to point out that due process is not good television, and that's why Donald Trump, who again sees all of this as entertainment, is having one of his friends, Peter Thiel, who owns Palantir, who is the CEO of Palantir, who is funding ICE, right? Okay. And remember that I'm telling you, you don't normally handcuff and detain someone that you need to deport. Generally speaking, when you get due process in the United States, you get correspondence that you are scheduled to go to court on this day. You need to either have an attorney represent you or represent yourself. And then you show up and you're required to have documentation. It's probably best to go through an immigration attorney so that they can make sure that you have all your paperwork and that your shit's all in order before you go before that judge. And not a high percentage of the time, high percentage of the time, it's a clerical issue. So understand that what is actually like pretty white collar crime, actually. We're talking mostly about registration errors, visas expiring, shit. Like that's 99% of the reason that you're beginning called before a deportation judge. Very rarely are they actually going to deport someone based on a like your due process. Actually learned this. It's like 92% of the time the person stays in the United States. It's like 8% to 10% to deport. Okay. Also, of the about 8 to 10% of the people that have to go before an immigration attorney or immigration judge and like have their fucking fate decided, um, they typically also self-deport. You got 30 days, like obviously didn't do things right and have shown like an either unwillingness or inability to do the right thing, go back to your country. Hey, I actually kind of think that might be reasonable. Know what I mean? Our existing deportation policy is fine. Now, the what Donald Trump is doing though, what he's ordering ICE to do through Peter Thiel, who owns Palantir, who's funding ICE. Okay? What he's doing is he's making a show of it. There's a reason like Kristi Noem is gonna she's gonna be the star. She's Donald Trump's like harlot. She's gonna make a show where they chase people around trying to get their immigration paperwork filled out and shit. Like these people are fucking insane. This is a nation of immigrants. Keep that in mind. Like these nutbags that are in office, and there's not really that, when you really think about this administration, it's small. This is a very small group of crazy people. And also, I want to continue to point out they're not doing shit. What pieces of legislation have they passed? They're going to stop producing the penny. Because I'll put it like this, if you saw the Rodney King beating in the 90s and that didn't radicalize you, but what's going down in the world now is radicalizing you, I fucking hate you. If fucking Columbine didn't radicalize you, if fucking 9/11 didn't radicalize you, if fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, there have been so many things well before Donald Trump that should have radicalized the fuck out of people. And I mean it. And unfortunately, what it did is it made people more susceptible to like brainwashing and propaganda, which is it played exactly into what Russia was doing. We're so fucking disillusioned. And when I say radicalized as a result of 9/11, it should have made people very aware that, first of all, America's not invincible. Second, what we're doing also not sustainable, and that shit has to stop. And we spent the better part of a couple decades just fucking it up, to be completely blunt about all of this. And lots of people died, and probably not for a great reason when it all comes down to it. Because a lot of people say that it was oil. I would like to continue to think that the dangerous things that Saddam Hussein had done to his people justified that. Um, Pretty sure he killed like 60,000 of his own people with mustard gas, right? I would prefer a self-deport than be dragged like an animal. And Latinos and Hispanics don't come out to vote against us in 26 and 28, then I would be disappointed. Yeah, we definitely need more Latino voters. We need more Latino socialists. You know, we need people that can define a social program, right? One of the things that I gotta get out of my chest into your ears is like, hey, y'all are gonna be like the future leaders of the country, like the people that are taking the time out of their life every day to sit with someone to talk about the news and politics, like people that are still engaging with what is happening in the world. And one of the things, I've sat here, we've defined socialism many times. What is a social program, right? What are social safety nets, right? Now, most of our social safety nets here in the United States are based on your income, generally speaking. And again, very generally speaking, you make less than a couple $1,000s a month, you're entitled to benefits in the United States. What you're entitled to, I don't know. It's different in every state. Every state has different programs. The social programs are primarily meant for low income earners. Okay. Now, there are people that are not low income that get the benefits of these social programs. Disabled people. Okay. So, a significant portion of social programs here in the United States are for poor people, people that make like less than a couple $1,000s a month. Okay, and then also the elderly and the people that like can't work full time anymore. Okay, fuck working full time. By the way, I just want to make sure I say that. Like, I'm not sitting here advocating for these things necessarily. If I'm speaking on shit, that don't mean I like it. Just want to throw that out there. So when you think about, for example, a Walmart worker, and Walmart's an easy target. My question would always be, do you think someone that works full time at Walmart should also have to apply for and get the aid of social programs because they're not being paid a living wage? It's a very simple question. Do you think someone that works full time at Walmart should also have to get food stamps? If you say, well, it depends, right? It depends. No, it doesn't. If you don't say a person who works full time at Walmart should not have to rely on social programs, say it with me. A person who works full time should not have to rely on social programs. Okay? So if you think, I just want to make sure we said, if you think if you work full time for someone, you shouldn't also have to use these social programs. Guess what? You are not a capitalist. Because what a capitalist would say is that if that's a low skilled worker, they don't deserve the wage that they can live on and that they should get those social programs. So understand, I just want to make sure that we call a low skilled worker what a low skilled worker is. Mostly heavily disabled. Elderly, women are considered low skill workers by these corporations, especially in entry level positions. I'm talking about the people rearranging the vegetables. Please do not get on a pedestal here. What I'm saying is capitalists believe that there are people that work for your company that don't deserve a living wage. And that's what social programs are for. I want to make sure that I let you know how I feel about that. And I think it doesn't fucking matter if you work for who you work for or how many hours a week you work. There's a reason I'm a champion for universal income. I think you should get a couple $1,000s from the gov just for fucking existing every month. Like $500 every Friday. Now, I figured out the fears why the powers that be don't want us to have universal income. I figured it out. I did my like research and what they don't want. They don't want you happy and armed. They want you fucking miserable and too poor to defend yourself. hmm They want you fucking depressed and shit. hmm So if you can acknowledge in this course of this conversation, like Jared's right, I'm not a capitalist because I think that there are absolutely people. Thank you, Judy. Yeah, there's a current UBI program in New Mexico, $731 a month. I'm guessing they give it to them like every Friday, but it's because of their their herb legalization. hmm Denver, Colorado also for 2 years did a universal income program where they gave $500 every Friday to 500 families. And the major data point that came out of that, because I'm a data analyst by training, the biggest data point that came out of that was something along the lines of like 41% of households in that 2 year period, because of the universal income they received, were able to like buy a house or get married or get a degree or have a child. And if you look at things that indicate a growing economy, those are the things. Those four things indicate that the economy is doing actual better when people are flush with cash. But the danger, if you're the government, is is those people arming themselves. And that again, I just want to make sure you understand that overthrowing the government is not an option. Violence against this regime is not an option. Violence against anyone in politics is not a good play. Motherfuckers are gonna talk about it and they're gonna sit and threaten about it. It's it's not gonna fly. Stop it. It's gonna take great political action. It's going to take people coming together and realizing Jared's right. There's no such thing as a workers' party in the United States unless you consider the American Socialist Party. hmm Yep. They need you tired. Yes, Bob. They need you tired and poor and needing money so you'll work for anything. Absolutely. hmm hmm By the way, I was late this morning. I try not to be late, but I was late this morning because I took the dogs for a walk and then I didn't want to wear this hat because I knew I was going to wear it when I go downtown because the Pacers played it again today, Game 6, Eastern Conference Finals against the New York Knicks at home. And so I'm getting ready to go downtown in a little bit. And so I didn't have this hat on and I went to sit down. And as soon as I sat down, I realized I had my Marine Corps hat on. And I was like, ah, shit, I want to wear my Indiana hat. So I had to run in the other room and get my other hat. That's why we were a minute late today. So we're not normally going live after 8 o'clock, but today it was 8:01. Got to get the right gear on, Jared. But yeah, I saw this on Reddit and I wanted to share it. I wanted to talk at length about Trump always chickens out. We got to impeach him and remove him from office because, in addition to Trump always chickens out, I also want to call him Nacho President. right? Taco, Trump, right? Trump always chickens out. And then once you remove him from office, then he's nacho president, like a nacho chip. And remember, when Donald Trump makes mistakenly deports people and then has to like get them back and shit, we pay for this. So understand it's costing US taxpayer money for Donald Trump and this regime to have to like recover the people they have exiled from the country. Hey, it's nauseous ambiance. That would be fucking hilarious. Vance would be just as bad, and there's that. Yeah. hmm except he's Jesus. Talk about like the most disappointed I've been in a Marine in a long fucking time. You know what I mean? I mean, before him, it was One-Eyed Jack from Texas. Crenshaw, say please and thank you. Oh my God. I just want to point out, JD Vance's wife is a person of color. Donald Trump's wife is Russian. Fucking what's the other guy? Stephen Miller's wife is a brown woman. So these men just hate their wives and that's it? Is that what the fuck this is? They get all drugged up and they realize like, "Oh, I really just hate my wife. I'm going to take it out on everybody else." Right? And so just get a divorce. Holy shit. Like Melania don't like you? No way. Y'all just split the fuck up. Holy shit. Go back to your golf course, you fucking turd. You know what I mean? Like same thing with Stephen Miller. Like, oh, you racist cuck. Like I know you would lose your girl to Elon, you fucking turd. Like that's exactly how I see him. See that whole fucking group of people. All their spouses are foreigners. And they hate fucking foreigners. And it's like, "Oh, you really just hate your wife." That's what this is. That's what this is. Or their wives fucking hate them and then as a result of being like fucking hate and you know what it's racism and sexism is what it really is. It's like all balled up into one. I think it's hilarious that motherfuckers are incredibly racist and sexist until they run into Candace Owens. And then they're like, "Well, you know, Candace, I mean, that's a smart girl, man. She's smart as fuck." And you're just like, "Are you fucking serious? That's Ben Shapiro with bronzer on. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?" Nothing there. I am what? I am Legion? I feel for their wives and kids. I don't. I think Otto left a long time ago. I am what? I am Legion? Yeah, good morning. Happy Saturday, everybody. Um, a lot of people have been like, what the fuck are we supposed to be doing? Here, look at what Yemen is doing. Oh, we got our live access removed for what? What did I say? Yeah, I don't think I said anything that was particularly divisive. What did I say? We got banned on TikTok. What did I say? Hold on. That was the wildest thing ever. What did I say that we get banned for? Ugh. That person said you are, and I said I am what? I am Legion. And I got yeah. For what? Jesus. I'm like my phone's talking. What they say I get in gender-based violence. What did I say? I mean, I got like sniped. It wasn't yo, it's even score. Uh-huh. I I don't really know, man. I I didn't think it said gender and sexual based violence, but it was like, what did I suggest? And again, I have an agent. I'm part of an agency. They'll review this, and our appeal tends to go through in moments. And I've yet the laws talking about wives maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's like either their wives hate them, but it's like no, 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 no. It's like they're racist and sexist. That's and they actually do hate their wives, all of whom are like immigrants and obviously women, right? So again, I want to make sure it's like I'm not saying Melania is a person of color, but she is fucking speaking Sputnik. Okay, didn't see you talking about. No, that person said you are, and I was like, I am Legion, and then my shit got cut off, and it was just like, yeah, it'll happen. It'll do that. I used to get like upset, but now I'm just like, oh, this is stupid. And just remember that when you get suspended on Twitter, it's usually for a month. Yeah, I wouldn't be violent in the chat. And I wasn't talking about being violence. I wouldn't do that anyway. Fuck TikTok, yo. I can't wait until there's an alternative. Also, you know what we got to talk about? Why the fuck are Charlie Kirk and Jordan Peterson debating children? What the fuck is going on here? Mm. I'm gonna try to make more content today while I'm downtown. I might be live. We'll see. Um, so for those of you that have no clue what's going on in Indianapolis right now, that's hilarious. Yeah. Uh, this weekend is SCG Con here in Indianapolis. So Star City Games is a business out of like the northeast part of the country. I think they're from Virginia. They're like a card shop that got real big, and they started running Magic tournaments. Well, Magic over time has branched out into other forms of intellectual property. For example, there's Doctor Who Magic. There's Final Fantasy Magic just came out and it was the most pre-ordered Magic set of all time. Was the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy crossover. For the record, huge fucking Final Fantasy nerd. I'm totally in for that. Um, that said though, um, what's going on in Indy this weekend is that convention and there'll be Star Wars Unlimited, there'll be Flesh and Blood. I seen they were doing a how to play yesterday, trying to get people to enter in their event. Obviously, there'll be Magic the Gathering events, but it's just like a nerd convention, and it's very small, very small, cordoned off in a corner of the convention. It's which is great. You don't want like a big, massive, overwhelming convention. It's a small baby. And TCG player who is very anti-union, not there. I just wanted to point this out. I was poking around yesterday because we've talked about this because this is my hobby and eBay has an arm of their business that's tied to TCG player. And it because of the ties to eBay, TCG player was the only unionized Magic the Gathering card seller. So if you wanted to buy Magic cards and you wanted to be pro union, you would go to TCG Player. Well, they just basically fired all their union employees to make more money, to hire in young people, basically to completely fire their staff so they could just not have to deal with union members and not have to negotiate for wages and benefits and shit because the company's making zillions. Like if you're good at this, if you're good, like a good business person, buying and selling trading cards is excellent business. Uh-huh. So, TCG Player, I was like shitty, Zeke, when I was gonna go yesterday. I was like, oh, let me see fucking TCG Player. I'm gonna make sure I give them a fucking earful. Like, I'll never fucking spend a dime at your fucking business again for being anti-union. You could tell that all the way to your fucking CEO. They weren't there. They weren't there. So I brought all that fucking energy. I brought all that energy to that place, and it was not. It was dead. They ain't there. Everybody else was there, but they weren't there. And then so what happened was I had no intentions to go, but a guy I was on active duty with 20 fucking years ago, who I've not seen since December of 2006, is is here. Okay. And this is somebody that was in my battalion, company, platoon. Okay, so I was part of the Combined Anti-Armor Team Black, and we were in the same platoon, and we were friends. I wouldn't call us best friends. RJ was my best friend, but Burkhead, uh, Brickhead was like one of the homies. So he and I have been like Facebook friends for a long time, and I had gotten off of Facebook. So keep in mind, if I hadn't started this journey with y'all, right, I wouldn't have gotten off Facebook. Um, but because I got off Facebook and he was, a guy that I served on active duty with, but lives in another part of the country and look the fuck around at what's going on in the world. You think we're trying to travel and shit? No. But I told him if you're ever going to be in Indianapolis, hit me up. And lo and behold, a couple weeks ago, he was just like, "Hey, I'm going to be in Indy." And he was like, "You said if I ever needed a place to stay." And you know how it is, you offer to help way before you're capable, right? And so I was like, "You come stay at my house." I don't have a fucking bed. I don't have an extra room. What's he gonna do? Sleep on the couch with the dogs? Oh, hell no. I'm not having somebody come to my house. It's 2025. I don't have no debt. I don't have no kids. I have dogs and cats. I'm not having someone stay at my house. I don't have the space. And I said, I'll do you a solid. I'll get you a fucking hotel room downtown. Not like put him up in an $80 hotel room over here where I live. No, no, no. I got him a hotel downtown Indianapolis for 4 days. So 4 nights. Why? Because I'm a Magic player. I used to play this game competitively and travel the country to fucking do it. You know what the worst smell in the fucking world is? That's right. Your goddamn body odor. So I want to make sure that he had a fucking hotel so I can expect that there's at least one other person in this fucking room that has taken a shower and has fucking deodorant on today. Okay? Because one of the things that I don't do is I don't play games competitively that I haven't prepared to do. I didn't prepare to do that. So what I will do though is I'll do something like work with my buddy. He's got a documentary that's coming out about this game that we both love, from his childhood perspective. And for the record, I've already seen the documentary, documentary in its entirety, and it's awesome. So for the record, it's a great piece of fucking cinema. If you have an appreciation for storytelling and like you can understand good versus evil and you can understand how that when you think about good versus evil, there's always the person behind the evil person that's like a puppet master, and you get to meet them, and it's fucking great, and you're like, oh my god, it's like a huge story. Like I actually think in terms of Magic the Gathering, this is like an incredible piece of cinema. And it will, and in my eyes, that movie will live on in people's lives forever that are way more connected to the community than I am. So understand that like I had a greater deal of appreciation for it because I've been a competitive Magic player for, a very long time, and it's something that's near and dear to me, right? So to have somebody that I was on active duty with in the same battalion, company, and platoon had the same like video games and gambling and Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. And for him to be in Indy, and we sat yesterday all day for like 10 hours. We were within 10 feet of each other. Uh, and what he was trying to do was to get people to draft Vintage Cube, which is the most expensive way to fly. You could play Vintage or Legacy. These are formats of Magic, and they're very expensive, sure. But in terms of like what is the most expensive way to play Magic, and that is Vintage Cube, because you have to have a copy of nearly every good card in Magic the Gathering. And we're talking, the lands in Magic the Gathering, the original OG duels, are thousands of dollars a piece. So under and there's 10 of them. So think about that. You could have $1 million in a cube. Easy money. I just told you 10 cards. I guarantee you, if you were being modest, I didn't say you're going out and getting the highest quality versions of those cards you could find. I'm saying if you're being modest, yeah, $2,000 to $5,000 a piece. Yeah, for like a nice underground sea. Yeah, those are really expensive. Uh-huh. Now, understand, I'm talking about the 550 cards is how many it goes in a cube. Okay. I'm saying it's like the 550 best Magic cards ever printed. Oh, honey, dumbass amounts of money. But we're in an era. Yes, so Zeke, that's what's going on in Indy this weekend. All those things. Get Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Digimon, all that stuff. That's my sphere. Um, and you got to add Flesh and Blood is like the new one that has come out. And there's also Star Wars Unlimited, and I can't remember what like the other games are. I'm a Magic player, okay? Yeah. So what I got to do yesterday all day long, I think I did 4 drafts. Um, I got to draft Vintage Cube on repeat. I could have stayed in the same chair and not moved all day, but I'm not that kind of person. But literally, anything that you can dream, like it fucking happened. It like, oh my god. Um, so, and the good news is those are all proxies. They're not real Magic cards. And so one of the things that I think that we're doing is we're introducing people to the game at such a high level. I saw one yesterday. Yeah. I always go look around. Nauseous. I always go look around. I always look around at these events. I want to see a real Black Lotus. And then the Deadpool just came out with like a deck, a set or whatever. And there's a Blacker Lotus. And I wanted to go see that. I want to go look at that too. So I saw a Black Lotus yesterday. I saw a Blacker Lotus, which is just hilarious. Like it's so the difference is like with Black Lotus, the original, it's a 0 mana card that it's a 0 mana artifact, so you just play it for free, and then you could just sacrifice it and get 3 mana of any color. So obviously 0 mana, 3 mana of any color is incredible. Hey, hey, we're really doing some shit. Okay. I drafted Black Lotus in a Vintage Cube draft deck yesterday, and I went 2-1, meaning my deck won, and I didn't see fucking Black Lotus one time, But every time I shuffled, I'm like, oh, there's a Black Hornets in here. Yeah, but I never saw it. I also like I opened a pack. I opened a pack yesterday, and it had Time Walk and Ancestral in it, and I almost threw up, but it wasn't real Magic cards. They're not real Magic cards. They're not real Magic cards. So it's like, oh yeah, that's sweet. Like I opened super high quality cards. Yeah, uh I I basically drafted combo the first round. I had all five pieces for the like Deceiver Exarch Splinter Twin combo. So I had Exarch Splinter Twin, Zealous Conscripts, Kiki Jiki, and I can never remember Deceiver Exarch. I had all of them, all five pieces. So of a two-card combo, two-card infinite combo to like kill your opponent. I fucked that up horrifically. I should not have lost the game. I should have also drafted better. I should have drafted my seat better. Oh my god, but I've had the time of my fucking life. Like you're playing a format that is like the all-time format of Magic. It's the best cards of Magic all time. And so every pack is like, holy shit, right? It's the best way to fly. And so there's an event there today, which I'm missing on purpose. It's modern. Modern needs a refresh. Yeah, it's stale as hell. But yesterday was crazy because not only did I get the vintage cube all day, that's what I'm doing today. That's what I'm doing to fucking tomorrow. Um, but um, I got to meet guys that I've played Magic with all over the country a decade, 15, 20 years later that are now like married and have kids and are homeowners. And I held their babies when they were babies. I've changed these kids' fucking diapers, right? Are now like teenagers and playing Magic. And you're like, whoa. So yeah, for yesterday, I remember a little man I met when he was like 6 years old, and that kid is no shit like driving a car and playing blue red prowess today, and I hope he fucking wins too. But anyway, so that's my little nerd spiel. And also the Pacers play tonight, so obviously it's like holy shit. And yesterday was a fucking zoo because it's also graduation season downtown Indianapolis, and right by the convention center, it's real pretty. So all the foliage looks really nice, all the flowers and the trees and stuff. And there's a Indy sculpture. If you ever see a INDY sculpture, and you're like, oh, where's that at? It's at the corner of Ohio and Dr. Martin Luther King. If you ever wondered where that Indy statue is, I just sold a third edition Volcanic Mountain and Bayou to Card Kingdom. Got almost $600. I would have paid you probably more than that. You say volcano. Wait. You mean you mean Volcanic Island? I was gonna say. Oh my God, it was great. Yesterday when I was drafting Vintage Cube, I got past so much shit. This kid just sat across from me yesterday and fed the fuck out of me. I got off of this kid. He passed Ancestral. He passed Time Walk. He passed Entomb. He passed. You know what I mean? Like he just gay. He just fed. So I played Reanimator. I played Reanimator twice. I played Blue Black Reanimator with like a control sub. I played Red Black Reanimator, which was fucking broken because I had Bizarre Baghdad. Uh, and I had what I learned was if you're gonna go, you gotta go. Like if you're gonna go Reanimator, you gotta go all in. If you're gonna go combo, you gotta go all in. I'm too hesitant. I just gotta commit. And you gotta hope you don't get burnt. Because I think I could have been like cards better, right? Morning, Jerry. But yeah, I cast Ancestral Recall probably like half a dozen times yesterday. I cast Time Walk. I never cast fucking Black Lotus. I'm pissed, but I did have it in a deck. I fucked up the use of a Mox. Oh yeah, I did it all. It was great. You know what it did? It made me not want to own Magic cards and be like, you know what? I'm gonna buy one of these cubes so I can always have it on me. And always vintage cube if we want a vintage cube. I got one. Okay? Like the OG, the real one with time vault and key and shit in it. Infinite turns. So you just play solo. Can't break that up. Here you go though. It's been announced, by the way. So I don't know if you guys have been paying attention much to the national strike. Have you guys been paying attention to this? So it was kind of weird. It was like, what? It was weird because there wasn't a lot of information about it. I'm gonna post on that. But yeah, good morning. Hey, now's a good time to hide your identity online. I don't in D4 also, yeah. Yeah, so can I say this and you not leave? I'm so disappointed in that game. Oh my God! If there's any video game that I'm just like, you cocksuckers, Diablo 4. Path of Exile. That's where I landed. I'm so disappointed. That's it. Hey, I played the absolute dog shit out of Diablo 4. Like, I have a 99 in every character and all the way geared out. Fuck out. I'm so pissed. Oh my God, they butchered the hell out of that game. There were so many things that they were doing right. Axe that. The stuff that they decided to do seasonally, trash. And like kept fucking pushing. It's like the gear didn't get better. Like no, what was the best gear and builds in the beginning still the best now, and like nothing changed. Mm-mm. If you want a great ARPG, you know it was really fucking good. Last Epoch is incredible. I played as the Void Warpath Sentinel. That was shit. You know, it was better than Diablo 4 is oh, what's the there's two of them. Sorry to talk video games and stuff. That's my hobby. Um I don't like to say I don't know when I know. Torchlight. Torchlight is really good. But yeah, the direction of Diablo 4, I'm just super disappointed. Mhm. So after I spent my 1,000 hours on that, I moved on. But yeah, I like ARPGs. I like ARPGs. I like RPGs, MMOs. I'm not a fucking hater. You would not believe. You would not believe this, Nauseous. I'm a gamer. I like all of them. I don't actually dislike things because that requires energy, and I'm fucking lazy. Diablo 2 is probably the one of the greatest video games of all time. Diablo 2 Remastered is really fun. I haven't played that in a while. But yeah, video games. What a great bit of escapism that gaming is. Like she allows you to check out of the world for a little bit. No, I'm not constantly looking at my phone trying to stay up on shit because ultimately, as I've said 1,000 fucking times, with this administration, it is not about results. It is about shock and awe, and it is meant to freeze you. It's meant to immobilize you. It's meant to depress you. It's meant to destroy your energy, and it cannot. It cannot. Only if you let it. And I'd say keep your eye on legislation and get your eyeballs off his goddamn executive orders because those are memos and they're not, all they're doing is stressing you the fuck out. When Chip Roy submits a fucking bill that is particularly like dangerous, let's talk, right? Same thing with this stupid ass budget. Let me just explain this. It has passed the House, it has to pass the Senate. Any line item that doesn't involve money that cuts a service, it has to be debated. So it's actually plays right into the Democrats' hands, where Democrats can just be like, why do you want to cut Medicaid? Tell everybody. Oh, why do you want to cut Medicare? Tell everybody. Every one of you get up here and say exactly what the fuck is going on here, and it's perfect. It's perfect. The Democrats are gonna fucking mop the floor up with the flop sweat from all these idiot ass Republicans that are trying to go along with the plan. Right? It's a complicit being complicit with the way things are is not a defense. Oh, this was the instructions I received. No, all these people are either operating out of fear, they're afraid, or they've been bought. And if you've learned anything in your lifetime, don't allow yourself to be bought so cheaply. We are lacking a plan. See, Janice, this is the shit that drives me up a fucking wall. Lady, I don't know what the fuck this is, but this is sounds an awful lot like you sitting in your house and not doing anything. Protest, boycott, and strike. Say it with me. Protest, boycott, and strike. If you think there is an action and it involves violence, go do it then. Exactly. Since you're not going to do anything, then you might want to protest, boycott, and strike. You might want to decide where your money goes. That's a plan, right? That's better than saying, we don't have a plan. We lack cohesion. No, we don't. We lack your involvement. That's your problem. Oh, you got to download the Five Calls app. Call your senators. Tell them you got to every line item on this budget bill. I want to make sure that the Republicans get up there and explain. Well, then good, Janice. Then you're part of the plan. So stop shitting on the plan. Protest, boycott, and strike. Contact your representatives. Yes, that is the plan. That is the get off of Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Twitter, Amazon, even. Shop local, right? Lacking a plan? Develop community. Get to know your neighbors. Get solar panels. Grow a garden, right? Get a generator. Protect yourself because the government's not going to do it. That sounds an awful lot like a plan. That sounds like planning and organizing and working towards a future. Again, it just drives me up a fucking wall when I see we're not doing anything. We don't have a plan. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? What about Mayday? What about 5051? What about Indivisible? Right? The question isn't what's the plan, it's how can I get involved? How can I help? Right? On June 6th, whether you're a veteran or not, in your fucking town, in your city, is a fucking Veterans Against Trump protest. That's this Friday. I'm switching my schedule around so I can get off work so I can go. And then, hey, the next weekend, the very next weekend, June 14th, in your city, in your town, is another protest against this regime, the No Kings protest. So there's a D-Day protest nationwide. There's a No Kings protest on June 14th. There's daily protests in DC with the May Day movement. We are to protest, boycott, and strike the people supporting this administration. And all I would ask is if you don't think we're doing enough and we don't have a plan, what the fuck else do you think that we should do that we're not? Because you cannot rely on a representative who's probably has a super high likelihood to be being paid off by a foreign agent, foreign government. Every elected Republican takes money from Russia and orders from Russia. 100 elected Democrats take money from AIPAC, Israel. And the Democrats also have a Blue Dog Caucus, which is an additional 54 Democrats that vote conservatively. They might as well be fucking Republicans, but I wouldn't want to fucking wear that scarlet letter either. Okay? So understand, I'm going to act this way every single time I see we don't have a plan. We lack organization. I can't sit by anymore and let nothing fucking happen. What the fuck are you doing? Are you still using Facebook, Threads, IG, WhatsApp, Twitter, Amazon? You still using all that shit? Stop. There you go. There's step one. Then, if you live in DC or you can get to the DC area, hey, there's daily protest. Scheduled, organized, and planned daily protests. I don't want to hear another fucking word. And also, if you can't get to DC, 5051, Indivisible. Those are planned and organized protests and organizations doing it. So even if you got beef with one of the orgs, I gave you 3. So do you see how it's really irritating as someone that has been to a protest for each of those orgs? As someone who gets on here every day and says the same shit. I understand. I just got done telling you you cannot rely on them. They're bought and paid for. So what is the plan? Protest, boycott, and strike. Call your representatives, make sure this budget bill gets delayed, and then you have to have elected officials going into office that are either unseating these people, either unseating a Republican or unseating someone that took money from AIPAC or unseating somebody that is a Blue Dog Caucus member. And that does not leave you with very many elected officials that you can trust. Remember, there's less than 600 elected officials in the United States. A very small portion of our population is in charge. And so the plan is to fucking replace them. The plan is to develop a political party, the American Socialist Party, bent on being pro equality, pro union, pro worker, pro, I would say pro people, but then that's something Joe Rogan said and kind of dilutes it. But yeah, it drives me crazy when I see it, it just makes me snap. Like, what the fuck do you mean? What's the plan? It's you see it on fucking Reddit all the time. People are posting on 50501. I haven't been a part of this for very long, but what are we doing? Like, what's going on, guys? And you're just like, oh my fuck, where the fuck? How did your head? Did it just come above the ground? You know what I mean? Did you have your head in the sand? But yes, I understand that you were talking about elected officials. You can't. They're bought and paid for. They have a very small group of their constituents that they're beholden to, and then they're beholden to some corporation, and then Israel, and it's all you can do is say, please make the Republicans go up there and grill them about all these cuts to all these social safety nets. Because if we don't, again, one of the things that that I saw, yes, I saw within the last 48 hours that I was like, exactly. There's a reason that I get on here every day and I don't ask you for money. Okay? It's because of all of the shit that Project 2025 does. What it doesn't do is affect me. It just affects everybody that doesn't look like me. And so if I get on here and I'm just a droll and I'm just like very copacetic, just go through the news, do my 90 minutes and leave, and I don't ever get fired up about anything, we die. Like nobody gives a fuck. So every now and then I'm gonna be like super pissed when I'm like, what are we doing? What do you mean, what are we doing? Boycott, protest, and strike. Use your voice. Use your outside voice, especially when you see ICE. What the fuck is ICE doing here? And also, I want to keep pointing this out. The reason they're doing it the way they're doing it, these small population groups writing legislation trying to oust trans people, writing legislation, not writing legislation, but trying to fucking deport Venezuelans. Go do some research. Those are the smallest population groups in the United States they're attacking first. And what they're doing is because they don't expect resistance. Hey, I just want you to know that if you're a man and you weigh more than 200 pounds and somebody is standing over someone else and they're either punching them or like pistol whipping them or whatever, and you run as fast as you fucking can and you try to drive your knee through the opposite side of their head, I'm willing to bet you them ice raids get a little more formal. You know what I'm saying? I bet you if all it takes is one person with a shotgun that comes out of left field and just wham, wham, I bet you them ice raids slow down. That's all I'm saying. So there's a reason they're going after small population groups is because they don't expect resistance. It's like they think John Wick is going to be the savior. Yeah, it's just that's just not how this works. There's too many bogeys. Okay, so have you guys watched Top Gun Maverick? We're in the part where they've done the bombing run and they go to escape. And when he climbs out, they all the fucking missile turrets turn, and then you see them all turning and burning, and there's fucking missiles flying everywhere. And I'm over here going, run, 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 right? That's where we are. Like you got to be like, there's way too much shit going on. There's too much wanton violence. Your objectives to survive, evade, resist, escape, which, by the way, is a school in the Marine Corps. And I'm gonna get that book, and we're gonna talk a lot more about how they teach survive, evade, resist, escape in the Marine Corps. Because I was selected to go to that. Oh yeah, that's right. And then I had to go to engineers school instead, and learn how to blow shit up. So as I've said, the answer isn't wanton violence. Although I can say with my full chest, those ice raids will stop as soon as, as soon as John Jones walks out of his house and is just like, you know what? That looks like my neighbor getting arrested. Let's go see if I can catch a knee. You know what I mean? Like, let's go see if I can catch a hard right. That's how you stop the mice raids. Because one of the things I noticed, it's like guys in body armor arresting women, like moms and shit, and stripping them from their kids. Hmm, hmm. That's an instance of people acting beyond their jurisdiction, and especially when they're particularly crude. And when they're particularly crude is when someone that is has ice on the front of their chest has a fucking Nazi tattoo on their elbow. Hmm. That's not the same, right? Because a lot of people are like saying like unalive the POTUS, and you're like, no, because then you martyr them, right? What you need to have happen is you need Elon and Donnie to OD together in some sick, twisted, drug-addled. You spiral. And again, if they keep seeing the resistance that they're seeing, they ain't gonna last long. Druggies never do. He's been a Donald Trump's been a light cocaine user. You can tell. Why 20 to 40 for one person? Exactly. Exactly. Because they're acting as though they don't have a budget because they're supported by Palantir. There's a reason that you saw elected officials challenging Nome and being like, hey, lady, you're operating as though you don't have a budget. You're a catastrophe waiting to happen. What happens when you can't pay these people? And then it'll come out they're paid by Palantir. ICE only pays like $23,000 to when you start. So again, nobody's taking that fucking job. It doesn't pay enough. So they're being paid by Palantir. They have to be being paid by Palantir. Why would you show up in force like that? If everybody's not, you're going to tell me you're only getting paid 23K and you're going to show up 40 deep to arrest one person? If you underpay me, I undershow up. What are you talking about? It's all about shock and awe. Remember, it's not about results. Remember, like when they release people, it's so fucking disappointing. I'm like, God damn it. They went through all that trauma for nothing. I'm talking about the person that was arrested and put in a jail and mistreated and not fed and shit. I'm like, God damn. I mean, I hope they get paid millions and millions of fucking dollars because that's what Donald Trump does. Is he's a horrific human being that does horrific things to people, and then he's like, pay him off, pay him. But just understand that's your tax dollars. So when Khalil Ahmoud sues and wins, that's your tax money in restitution. hmm And again, the reason that, in my opinion, the reason that all of this is going on is so Democrats can win future elections. The reason that they didn't say anything about what happened in the 2024 US election is because they know that Donald Trump is helping them win future elections. Already paid $5 million to the Babbitt family. hmm Ashley Babbitt is a traitor and she got what she deserved. No fucking mercy. Yeah. Kara said it right. The trauma they put them people's kids through, they're going to need a lot of counseling. Absolutely. And before anybody asks, not all veterans. Not at all. Nope. Yep. Donald Trump had us pay 5 million. hmm And yeah, I saw this where Supreme Court lets Donald Trump. Yep, there's a reason I sit here and say like we can't keep doing it the way we're doing it because we're not gonna make it because they're playing politics with our lives. And I don't believe in doing it. I don't believe in making a point. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in letting people suffer. I don't believe in letting people suffer and saying fucking nothing. And that's the big thing about what these Democrats are doing is mum is the word. They're not saying anything because again, they're planning on using this to win future elections. And there's a thing there's the reason I've sat here every day and said shit like I think this is the end of the Republican Party, and I think that Democrats know all we got to do is continue to show up to work and vote together. The MAGA is gonna split because they're losers and everything that they touch turns to shit. And there will be a group of people that are call themselves Republicans remaining. But remember, like I said, there's like 54 Democrats that are basically Republicans, part of the Blue Dog Caucus. So they'll get some support. And we'll have like a contingency of people that are like middle of the road politically. Um, and I think that we are merging into uniparty territory where it's just the Democratic Party. They're the only people fucking capable of running this country. You get elected, and the thing about that is they're still beholden to capitalism. So the problem that I have is that we can't keep doing what we're doing. We have to realize instead of writing a budget promising tax cuts to billionaires and cutting social services, we need to reinforce those existing social safety nets with universal basic income, right? We need to keep people off of these safe social safety nets by having socialized education so that everybody gets an equal opportunity at education. No excuses. And then one of the things that bothers me the most is the volume of homeless veterans, right? More importantly, though, homeless people. And I get it, there are people that are just homeless. That's just how their life is. Cool. But there's also like 10 times as many empty homes as there are homeless people. There, I solved your fucking homelessness problem. House people. The government should buy housing and fucking. They did it before. They built houses and gave houses to people. Mhm. I lived in one of those houses, 16th and Downey, Indianapolis, Indiana, in 1952. They built neighborhoods of homes and gave them to people, mostly veterans. And think about it, as we get older, what prevails? Socialized policy prevails. People like it. Oh, free healthcare for everyone. Who doesn't want that? Who wants to continue to pay for healthcare? People that sell healthcare, people that work at healthcare companies, not healthcare workers, not your doctors and nurses and the such. I just want to make sure there's a difference between a medical worker, somebody who works at like a hospital or a clinic, that is not your enemy. And the fact that I have to fucking say this is absurd because you really do. You really do. Or people will really be mad at the wrong people. So exactly what Bob is saying, like the game's broken. There's a path forward. We need adults in the room. We need people that aren't scared and aren't going to sell out to Russia and Israel and aren't going to call themselves one thing and be a fucking another. We need people that are like, I would prefer if as few people die under my watch as possible, and therefore I want everyone to have health care and a place to live and housing and an opportunity to get educated. And I think everyone should join a union. And if you haven't joined a union, I want to know too. If you join a union, don't hide it from me. Tell me. Okay? I joined Work in America because I work in finance, which is basically the wild, wild west. Just true. So join a union if you haven't already. Okay? Or find a union. Join a union. One of the trends that it is my mission to reverse is we have had declining union enrollment going on like 70 years in the United States, And that correlates with a loss of civil rights. It correlates with a loss of workers' rights. It correlates with the lack of an increase in minimum wage. It correlates with all this money getting taken out of social and safety nets and given to fucking billionaires who, again, are overly invested in the private prison system in the United States. And their ultimate goal is to jail their political opponents and turn them into slave labor. So we can do it my way, where it's like, hey, everyone should join the American Socialist Party. Everyone should want universal healthcare, education, income, and housing, should be pro-union, should be pro-equality, should understand that the private equity bubble is about to fucking burst. And as I've said before, we have to get rid of private equity because that's really what the fucking problem is. Getting on disability sucks. The rules keep you on disability and they tell you you don't want to get off disability because it's near impossible to get back on disability. It's fucking crazy. That's why I'm an advocate for a healthy lifestyle. That's why I sit here every day and tell everyone get 8 hours of sleep a night. Not only get 8 hours of sleep a night, but you also gotta hydrate and eat right and exercise. One of the things that I've gotten into doing lately is I walk my fucking dogs twice a day. And in addition to all the other shit I do, I gotta be more active. Get outside, touch grass. I touch fucking grass, okay? Specifically the grass. I walk my dogs around the edge of the property line because they're terrible on a leash, and so I'm trying to leash train them by habitually walking them out on the property line, teaching them to color within the lines. So hey, it's about that time. I'm gonna shower, go downtown, spend the day. I think I forgot to play War. I think I forgot to play War because I came in with my hair on fire. And by the way, if you are watching this show on TikTok, you are missing out on what I think the better part of the show is. I'm actually posting links in the comments to everything we're talking about. I'm also doing it on TikTok. But TikTok blocks every one of the fucking links that I post. So if you are like, oh, that sucks, I'm like missing out on a whole part of your show. Yeah, you should absolutely go up here to my profile, click, you'll see the link to YouTube. You should watch the show on YouTube. I actually think I actually think what we're doing is awesome on YouTube because you can see you can click the link, it'll take you to a new tab. You can like read that while I'm talking, that type of shit. So you can understand like I'm not just up here blowing smoke. Okay. So, a little bit of war. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing, right? A little bit of eat the rich. Oh, and by the way, I gotta tell this to you before I go today. Forgot. So I don't really have like a claim to fame in Magic. Okay, there's no history of consistently winning, none of that shit. And I've never spoke like there is, but I've frequently spoke about, but I have friends who have had a great deal of success playing Magic that I helped them prepare. I was there to help them play test. Hours and hours and weeks and weeks and weeks going and play testing. And one of my friends, his name's Douglas Bauer. He there was many moons ago there was a modern event here in Indy, or no, standard. It was a standard event here in Indy, and this was back when um, standard had fetch lands. Um, the in my eyes, as far as standard goes, Dragons of Tarkir, the original was like the Tarkir was the best. Theros to Tarkir was like incredible time frame in Magic. And my one of my best friends, Doug Bauer, went undefeated day one of a GP, which is unheard of. At like 8-0-1. I think he won his first 8 matches and drew in the last to end the day 8-0-1, which again, it's not that he won the event, that's like crazy. It's that he didn't lose a match. And like it through 8 rounds of a 9 round event, like a 9 round opener, he goes, I don't think I lost the game. At like 8-0, 8-0 in a fucking tournament. Like, so again, my claim to fame is not me. It's I helped other people and other people had success. Well, my buddy Albert was like, "Why? Why? Why couldn't you do it yourself? Like you're obviously good because otherwise multiple people that are good at Magic wouldn't have you around. What's keeping you from having success yourself?" And I said, "Well, it goes along with this shit like being in the military, right? I didn't necessarily sign up to shooty shooty bang bang, but to have gone through boot camp and AIT and get to the fleet and get to 2-2, go through a whole workup, get on a boat, and to not have actually like done my job. And again, it's not that I didn't hurt anyone. It's I did all this shooty shooty bang bang shit in practice and then didn't get to do it for real. And he laughed at me and he was said, "What the fuck are you talking?" Nobody did. Jared, even if you hadn't gotten hurt and you went on that whole boat ride and you went to Iraq on the next deployment with 2-2, we didn't see combat. We did none of that happened. So the whole time you were in all 4 years, you had 2 deployments and nothing. Nothing. And he was the company clerk, so he made sure everybody's MCIs were done and perfect and that they were everybody was super promotable. So like that was fixed. Everybody's getting NCO. So do you see how like it kind of didn't matter either fucking way? And it was a great release for me where it was like I'm free now to have success because I had been beating myself up for not like making it through and like going on all that shit. Not necessarily like the do your job thing, but like go to Iraq during a time of war and like to have say that you went there, done that, and got the fucking t-shirt. And he was just like, and did what? What did we do? Nothing, Jared. It was hot and dry. It sucked. It didn't rain. That's what I remember. Not the ugga ugga ugga. None of that. We didn't do that. So nobody did that. Nobody that I served with got to do that on either of those fucking deployments that I missed. And again, it's not that I like care about that actual act, but it frees me. I can go accomplish anything now because I'm not like being held back by um I guess like the fear of missing out, right? Or being held back by guilt or held back by obviously well what happened outside of the confines of work, right? My battle buddy dying, right? My best friend dying, right? And also I've had like a long conversation with again somebody that I served with that's here in my city that I'm getting ready to go see about RJ, right? So to have that conversation about what happened and it's sort of like you're telling someone else for the first time that was really close to the situation about it, right? So anyway, I appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your day. If you live in Indianapolis and you're gonna be downtown, I'll be at SCG Con. It'll be a good time. See y'all.